So in our last lesson, we talked about sleepless nights. We focused on insomnia, some of the problems that many people have with sleep. And we talked a little bit about some of these phrases and some of this vocabulary related to sleep and sleeping and lack of sleeping. So we did that. And I think a few of them, not a lot, but a few of them were new. Maybe the difference between to fall asleep, which we'll take a quick look. Excuse me. We'll take a quick look at the definition now in a minute. So fall asleep was kind of new. To be fast asleep, insomnia. I think these were maybe the new words or the new expressions that we covered. Let me show you some of the definitions here on page 129, so you can remember them. 129. So these are some of the definitions. Okay, so you can see here the meanings of some of the expressions. So fall asleep, when we say fall asleep, this is the start. This is when you sleep, when you start sleeping. So this is fall asleep. Okay, and to be wide awake, also I think some of you asked about this. This means to be completely awake. So when you say I was wide awake at 3 a.m., it means you were completely awake. This is the meaning. To be fast asleep, it means completely asleep, deep in sleep in a way. This is the meaning of fast asleep. So when you say the children were fast asleep when we got home, that means they were completely asleep. This is the idea. What else we have here? Let me show you the rest of the definitions. We talked about snoring, which is the noise many people make when they sleep. So it means breathe in a noisy way when you're sleeping. Have insomnia, it means to not be able to sleep. The rest is clear. I think have a dream, have a nightmare, to be a light sleeper, heavy sleep. Okay, the rest is clear. So these are some of the words we covered, some of the vocabulary we covered. And we also talked about some interesting statistics in the UK and in the USA, and some of the changes that have happened compared to people 100 years ago. So it says because of electricity and because of lights, people are sleeping, they're sleeping less than before. So this means that before people used to sleep when it's dark and wake up when it's light. But this, of course, changed with electricity. So we talked about that. We compared teenagers and babies. We compared them to old people. We agreed that babies need the most sleep. Teenagers need a little less. Adults, they need a little less. And old people, they need the least amount of sleep. So we talked about that. We also covered strong forms, weak forms, and we agreed that actually weak forms are much more common than most of us expect, I think, because we're always used to the strong form. Do, you, at, for. We're used to this. This is how this is what we say when we think of these words. But in reality, the weak form is much more common in real life. So it's more likely that you'll hear the, ya, at, for, of, and, to, can. So it's more likely you'll hear the weak form in conversation, or if you go to the UK, for example, it's more likely you will hear this when they speak. So we talked about that also. We covered it. We did some questions. We talked about Kevin, and we talked about his problems sleeping, and we all agreed it's because of his wife. So when we say it's a nightmare, of course, we're talking about his wife. She's the nightmare, and she's causing him insomnia, and she's making his life impossible. He's exhausted because he's thinking of her. He has terrible nightmares because of her, and it was impossible to get to sleep because of her. And now he's extremely depressed because of her, and he feels awful because of her. And he's always really shattered at the end of the week because of her. And he feels absolutely fantastic if he doesn't think of her. And he also said he had a brilliant job. What else did he say? He's thinking about money because he knows his wife will take all of it. And he's thinking about his marriage, which is very expensive. So these are some of the things he talked about. So what we want to do now really is we want to talk in more detail about vocabulary. So in today's lesson, we're going to talk about something called gradable adjectives and strong adjectives. Okay, so when we say strong, it usually means very something. All right, so let's take this adjective, brilliant. So when you think of the word brilliant, it means very good, right? So this is the meaning of brilliant. It just means very good. Now, they want us to complete the table with the adjectives in pink from the article. Now, of course, in the article, we need to match the meaning. We need to match the meaning of the pink adjectives to the meaning we have in the table. So we need to look for another adjective which has the same meaning as good, but it's stronger. Okay. One of them is brilliant, but I think we need another one. So can you find another adjective in this article which has the same meaning as good, but it's kind of stronger? This is what we want. Okay. Can you find
fantastic?
it?
Yes.
Fantastic?
Fantastic, yes.
Maybe. Let's use
Maybe.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Let's use fantastic, and then we'll see if we need to change it. Maybe we'll
Okay.
change it. Okay, so brilliant and fantastic.
Mhm.
Let's do that. Then we want a strong adjective, fantastic, which has the meaning of bad, but stronger. This is what we want.
Awful.
Awful is probably a good one. How many do we need? We need two. Awful is
Two,
one
yeah.
of them.
Yes, and
Exhausted.
terrible.
I think terrible is another good one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, terrible and awful. I agree. I think these are our best choices. So terrible and awful. What about tired? If we want a strong, exhausted, right? And we need another one. Exhausted is one of them. You're right.
It's not clear the page of this paragraph.
Yeah, let me move down.
Mhm.
I think the page is stuck. Can you still see the book?
Yes.
Yes, we see, but it's not all
Okay,
page.
sorry, it's kind of stuck.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, let's try to open it again. Wa alaikum salam, Najat. Hi. Okay, let me go to the book again. Can you, okay, now it's moving. Everything is okay. Let me share it. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
All right, so so we mentioned, okay, I think I need to write them again, no problem. So exhausted is one of the adjectives or the strong adjectives which has the same meaning as tired, but there's another one. Can you remember it?
Yes.
What is it?
Shattered.
Shattered?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the right one. Let's write both of them. If we need to change them later, no problem, but I think these are our best options for now. So exhausted, and we also have shattered. Let's put both of them. What about a strong adjective which has the same meaning as big, just stronger?
Huge.
Huge is one of
Yes.
them. How many do we need? Do we need one or two? Just one.
One.
We only need one. So let's write huge. It seems like the best option we have. We need one adjective with one strong adjective which has the meaning of very difficult, like very difficult, just stronger.
Impossible.
Impossible.
I think it's the best option we have, right? Possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's write impossible. Impossible. And then we have frightened.
Terrified.
Terrified. And what about surprised?
Amazed.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Oh no. Amazing.
Amazing.
Yes. What about fantastic? No.
Fantastic. It means good.
Yes. Amazing.
Is it amazed or amazing?
Amazed.
It's amazed.
Yeah.
Amazed.
AD.
But why did you say amazing in the beginning? Yeah, okay, amazed. There's a bit of a what's the difference, by the way, Sana? Can you tell me the difference between amazed and amazing?
Yes, you did in the beginning of the discourse about something for the things or something for you, but always I confuse between both of them. ED, which ED will use it, and ING for who use. I look for my note to see the.
I think you need to get
example.
You need to get used to it without seeing the notes. Use one adjective which is easy to remember. Okay. For me, what I do is I use one adjective which is, for example, boring. Right.
Yes.
So how do you use boring? To talk about things. The movie was boring. The trip was boring. The class was boring. The teacher was boring. My parents' lecture was boring. The khutbah al-Jum'ah this Jum'ah was boring, you know. So I can say boring for things, right? Or situations. I can even use them for people. So I can say my friend is sometimes boring. My neighbor is boring, right? But if I want to talk about myself, how I feel because of all these boring people and boring situations, I can say I'm bored. I'm bored because of all of this, because of all of these boring people.
Okay.
So the idea is just use one adjective. And
okay. Always I remember, well, there is a difference between ED, ING, but always I confuse it.
Yeah. So it needs a little bit of practice. You'll get it. Don't worry. So surprised or amazed, of course. But why do you think, Sana, that we used ED adjectives in all these examples? Why didn't we use an ING adjective here?
Because he talked about himself.
That's it.
That's why.
Yeah, exactly right. Because all of these situations, he was describing how he felt. He's describing himself. That's why we need,
yeah,
amazed, terrified, exhausted, shattered. He's talking about his own situation. All right, very nice. So now we have our list of strong adjectives, and we got the meaning right, which is great. So this means we can move on to part B. So in part B, what they want you to do is they want you to match the gradable adjectives in A to the strong adjectives in B. So this is basically the same thing, matching, but this depends on meaning. And we also have maybe a few new ones, I'm not sure. So let's do that. So let's start with the easy ones. Start in any order you want, okay?
Okay.
Tasty, delicious.
Tasty, delicious, okay, correct. So tasty, delicious. What else?
Small, tiny.
small,
Tiny.
Small, tiny, small, tiny.
tiny,
Yeah.
Cold, freezing.
Cold, freezing.
Freezing. Okay.
hot,
Delighted.
Boiling.
Boiling.
yes,
Hot, boiling. Beautiful.
Fascinating.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous, yes.
Yeah, beautiful, gorgeous.
gorgeous, okay,
Big.
Mm,
Let's do it like this. So. Yeah, cold, freezing, and we have hot, boiling. Yeah, maybe like this. We have beautiful, gorgeous. We have, okay, let's skip big. What about interested?
big, it's enormous.
Correct. Enormous. Enormous. Interested. Oops. Big is enormous. Interested.
fascinated,
Fascinated. Happy.
Delighted.
Delighted.
Delighted. Dirty. What about dirty?
Dirty and angry.
Yeah, we didn't do angry.
Yeah.
And filthy.
Dirty is filthy.
Filthy.
And
Angry,
furious.
Is
furious,
Okay, so let's remove all the arrows to make it easier. So tasty is delicious. Okay, I'm going to say the gradable adjective, the normal adjective, and I want you to tell me the strong adjective, okay? So tasty.
delicious,
Small.
tiny,
Correct. Cold.
freezing,
Right. Hot.
boiling,
Yeah. Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
gorgeous,
Correct. Big.
Enormous.
Enormous. Correct. Interested.
fascinated,
Yeah. Angry.
furious,
Happy.
Delighted.
delighted,
Dirty, filthy.
Dirty, filthy.
okay,
The word big is one of the gradable adjectives that has a lot. It has a lot of strong adjectives. You have big, you have huge, enormous, gigantic, titanic, monumental. There's so many different adjectives they use. For example, the word Titanic, it's actually it's a strong adjective that means something very big. So if you say this is a Titanic building, it means a huge building. I know all of you remember it as the name of the ship or the movie, but the meaning of the word Titanic means very, very big. All right? Or gigantic. Hello, hi, Hab. How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm all right. So here we're just discussing some adjectives and their meaning. Okay, now moving to part C here, it says, look at the adverbs in blue in the article. So we're moving from adjectives, we're moving to adverbs this time, okay? So the blue words are adverbs. They are not adjectives, they're adverbs. So they want us to look at these adverbs and which of them do you think we use with gradable adjectives and which of them do we use with strong adjectives? Okay, and there's one adverb that we can use with both. So we want to classify them. This is our job now, okay? So we're going to start with the article from the beginning. We want to group the adverbs into two groups. One group are adverbs which are used only for gradable adjectives, and the other group of adverbs are only used for strong adjectives. One adverb can go both. So the first one is already answered. Okay, so you can see the adverb extremely. You use this for a gradable adjective. So you can say extremely big. You can say extremely tasty, extremely cold, extremely happy, right? Extremely hot. But you cannot say extremely gorgeous. I don't think you can use it. Or extremely freezing, extremely delicious. No. Do you get the idea? Do you get my point? So this means the adverb extremely, you cannot put it with any adjective you want. It works with only gradable adjectives. Do you get the idea? So this means extremely, you can only use it with group A. You can't use it with group B. Okay, so with group B, no, it doesn't work. You can't use it. You can't use it with group B. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at the verb. The adverb really. Let's find it. So we used it here. Really shattered.
Yes.
This is an example of a strong adjective, right?
Yes.
And then we used it again with long.
Really long.
Really long. And long, is it a strong adjective or is it a gradable
No.
adjective?
It's a
Gradable. Yes.
So this means maybe really can go both ways, right? Double
Okay.
shafra, right? So really maybe it works in both. Let's write G and S for now, and if we need to change, we'll change later. But for now, it looks like it works.
Yes.
It works for both. All right, let's take a look at absolutely. Absolutely.
strong.
Strong, yes.
Can we say absolutely big? Can we say absolutely small?
No. No.
No.
But we used it with fantastic, right? And fantastic is a strong adjective.
Strong, yes.
We did it with good. So this means absolutely you need a strong adjective to use it. Okay, then we have incredibly. Let's see how we used incredibly in the article. How did we use incredibly? Let's take a look. So it says here incredibly difficult. Let's see if we have any other examples. No, that's the only example. Incredibly difficult. So what does this mean?
Means
With the gradable
adjective.
Did we use it with a gradable adjective, incredibly, or did we use it with a strong adjective?
No, with the gradable.
Yes.
Strong.
No, difficult is not a strong adjective. When we say difficult, can you see difficulty have? Incredibly difficult.
Yes.
So difficult is not it's not a strong adjective, difficult. It's a gradable adjective. Okay.
Okay.
What about very? How did we use very? Let's take a look.
Very is
Very
gradable,
gradable.
Very expensive.
Mm.
And expensive, is it a strong adjective or a gradable adjective?
gradable adjective.
Gradable.
Yeah, it's a gradable adjective. So can we say, for example, very tiny, very freezing, very boiling,
No.
very delighted? Sometimes you
No.
can, but
No,
at least here in this example we can't, right? So in the lesson we used it with a gradable adjective. And then we have fairly. Fairly. Let's take a look at fairly. How did we use fairly? Fairly healthy.
Gradable.
Gradable. Okay, so here what we answered is according to the article, right? So we just followed the article and we answered in the same way. Let's take a look. Let's confirm this and let's see what's what, okay? Let's try to understand how do we use these adverbs? When do we use them for gradable? When do we use them for strong? And what about the adverbs that go both ways? Let's take a look at this on page 130. So let's see, and let's find out. All right, so here we are, gradable and strong adjectives. So now we have the list. All the adjectives on the left side, all of these are gradable. By the way, what does the word gradable mean? Who can tell me when we say, for example, good is gradable? What does this mean? I'm interested in this word. Where does it come from and what does it mean, the word gradable? What's the origin of this word? What do you think?
Where the word come
Normal
from?
adjective.
Yeah, I mean the origin of the word gradable. Can you think of other words which sound like gradable? I mean, do you think it's related to the word grade? What do you think?
Maybe.
It is actually.
Yeah.
Grade is the noun, and gradable is the adjective. So what we mean when we say a gradable adjective, it means we can put different levels. So when I say good, you don't know how good. If you say, for example, the weather is good today, is it very good? Is it really good? Is it quite good? Or is it just good? Do you get my point? So there are different levels or different grades of good. There's different grades of bad. Do you get the idea? So, but when we say brilliant or fantastic, this means the highest good. Do you get the idea? The strongest good. Very good. So this is the main difference between gradable and strong. Strong is from the beginning, يعني كأنه جاية معها الفيري مبنية فصلها. Do you get the idea? So fantastic بروحها من الأول هي معناها very good. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
Brilliant, it automatically means very good. مش good, very, very good يا أخي. Do you get the idea? So this is the main difference between a gradable adjective and a strong adjective. A strong adjective is already very, or it's already really. This is the point here. So and this is exactly what they tell you here. يعني هذه النقطة اللي كاتبينها لكم حتى في التip. If you check the tip here, it says strong adjectives already include the idea of very. يعني ضمن معناها هي فيها very أصلا. Okay, so brilliant means very good from the beginning. Ihab, did you say something?
Yes, I want to ask about just question out of this class.
Sure.
this is like gradable or strong adjective. Like when I studying about this word, or all book intermediate, like memorization or like take just idea about this topic about intermediate.
I don't.
About reading.
To be honest, I'm usually against. I'm against memorization. I don't like memorization. The problem is because if you memorize, it's not that it doesn't work. It does work. The problem with memorization, it works, but it gives you a false sense of competency. يعني كيف نقول لك بالعربي يعني تعطي الحفظ يعطي لصاحبه شعور نوع من الشعور بالكفاءة المزيف. يعني في وقتها في لحظتها انت تبدا ظابط ان amazed نعرف يعني معناها it's surprised I know its meaning. But when you have the situation لما يجي قدامك الموقف مش حتعرف تستعملها لانك انت متعود عليها كحفظ مش كاستخدام مش كفانكشن كوظيفة. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
So it's better to think of an example or think of a situation. Imagine a scenario. تخيل في روحك انك انت حتحتاج تستعمل كلمة amazed واستعملها في أكثر من حوار خيالي مثلا. واللي أفضل من هذا أنه هو بالقراءة with reading. If you read a lot of books, novels, stories, whatever, you're exposed to this kind of language. حتتعرض بصفة مستمرة لل strong adjectives ومش حتى يعني vocabulary بصفة عامة. هو طبعا درس هذا يعتبر مفردات يعني موضوع قصة vocabulary يعني. فنفس القصة لكل الفوكاب حيصير لك نفس الشيء حتشوفها في السياق. وكل ما الكلمة تشوفها في سياقها هذا وين حتكتسبها أنت حتصبح طبيعية. زي مثلا زي وضعنا احنا مع الكلمات اللي هي الجريدبل. تو بالنسبة لنا الجريدبل أغلبها زي مثلا good, bad, tired, big, tasty, hot, cold. هذا ما عادش نفكروا فيهم نديروا فيهم بشكل تلقائي صح؟ من كثرة الاستعمال من أيام البيجنر كيف نستعملوا good كيف نستعملوا bad كيف نستعملوا big small. خلاص أصبح الموضوع you do it easily without thinking من غير حفظ. لاحظوا لو أنتوا تسألوا روحكم هل أنت حافظ good و bad و tired حتلقى روحك في الحقيقة مش حافظهم كحفظ يعني شو معناهم لكن حتلقى روحك تعرف أمتى تستعملهم. Do you get the idea? So if you take a long time at work, for example, if you have a long day at work, when you go home, automatically تقدر حتقول I feel tired. لأن تعرف أن tired تنحط في المكان هذا. بس لو مثلا تتعود أكثر على exhausted حتبدأ تستعمل فيها بنفس الطريقة. You will start using exhausted. I'm shattered if you have a really bad day at work or a very long duty, for example, right? With lots of cases, no time to sleep, no food. So you can say, I feel exhausted. I had a horrible weekend in the hospital, مثلا. Do you get the idea you have?
Yes, yes.
فالحفظ يعني خليه كملجأ أخير. آخر حل. الحفظ كآخر حل ماشي الحل.
Not about just يعني مش about يعني الحفظ يعني أنا نقصدش فيه حتى الحفظ أنا نقصد به من ناحية حتى المذاكرة يعني المذاكرة بصفة عامة يعني المذاكرة حتى لو تفتح مثلا الدرس هذا وتشوف مثلا هيك كمرور يعني لا مش حفظ هي الدنيا كلها مش حفظ هي أهم شيء توصل المعلومة يعني.
لا كمراجعة مرور بالعكس هذا ممتاز جدا. هذا ينصح به. It's very good to do this. بالعكس تشجعك انك انت تمر وتشوف good اذا brilliant and fantastic القصد منهم very good تمام هذه وصلت كذا. لكن اللي احسن من هيك انك انت تشوف مثلا تدخل على جوجل وتكتب fantastic in a sentence. هي هذه قصة اللغة أهميتها في سياقها. لو أنت حطيت مثلا في الجوجل كتبت fantastic in a sentence هيطلع لك مثلا 10 أمثلة فيهم كلمة fantastic وكل مثال تقرأه أنت بتزيد ترسخ لك فكرة fantastic كيف تدخلها في الجمل بتاعك وتجرب مثلا ديرها في لغتك اليومية. مثلا fantastic this is a fantastic car. مثلا لو الوالدة طيبت لك غذاء مثلا حاجة واو فأنت بتقول this is fantastic so good it's delicious مثلا. Do you get the idea? فتبدأ تعرف أنت تحط مثلا fantastic brilliant مثلا كلمة brilliant على سبيل المثال في الإنجليزية brilliant يستعملوا فيها دائما مع idea يعني بصفة عامة أنا مجرد نفكر في كلمة brilliant طول بتجيني معاها كلمة idea، لأن مرادفة يستعملوا فيهم بكثرة. من كتر ما تعودت اني نشوف فيهم ديما مع بعضهم، اول ما شفت كلمه بريليانت فكرت كلمه ايديا. لو مثلا انت تتحاور مع زميل او صديق او اي شيء ويعطيك فكره كويسه، لو كان صاحبك انجليزي وانت اعطيته الفكره الكويسه شنو حيقول لك؟ يقول لك that's a brilliant idea. فيستعملوا فيها بريليانت بشكل كبير مع ايديا. لكن لو هذه مش مر عليك او انت مثلا مش سامعها، مش حتقدر انت تتخيلها ان ايديا يستعملوا فيها بكثره مع بريليانت. ممكن تقول علاش ما نستعملوش مثلا فانتاستيك، نفس المعنى، نقدر نقول فانتاستيك ايديا، لكن الحقيقه بريليانت ايديا مازال طبيعيه اكثر في الانجليزي. عرفت الفكره؟
فاهم.
فهذا يعني بيجوك بالتعرض، فانت عرض روحك لهم يعني.
تعرض اللغه، يعني تعرض للغه اكثر.
Yes.
تعرض تزداد
Correct. Yeah. That's why movies are important, books are important, series, friends, courses، خلطها كلها قدر الامكان. عرض نفسك للغه، والمراجعه مهمه زي ما ذكرت انت، مهم جدا. ف it's good. You should review. Okay, so this is the list. So we have gradable adjectives here, strong adjectives on the other side. So, okay, now let's talk a little bit about adverbs. So we talked about the adjective here. Now let's talk a little bit about the adverbs. So it says we can use the adverbs fairly, very, extremely, and incredible with, incredibly, with gradable adjectives but not strong adjectives. Okay, هذه القاعدة الأولى. So if you use any of these adverbs, you can't use them with strong adjectives. ممنوع عليك استعمال strong adjectives. Okay, so this means you will say fairly good, fairly beautiful, extremely beautiful, very cold, incredibly small, very dirty, extremely happy, fairly angry. You get the idea. So you can only use these adverbs with this group. You cannot use them with strong adjectives. You can't. It doesn't make sense. Okay? So this is the first rule, rule number one. The second rule, it says with fairly, the meaning of fairly is less strong than very. So for example, let me show you. Let's say this is a temperature, okay? So let's say the weather, this is 50. So this is the weather. And let's say this is minus 20. Okay, so these are temperatures. So if I want to talk about the temperature, if I want to say the weather today is, for example, the weather today is 15. And the adjective is cold. هذه تقول adjective اللي حنستعملها في أمثلتنا. Okay, cold. So I want you, all of you, I want you to use the right adverb to talk about cold. So this means I'm going to do the first example. Okay, so minus 20 is extremely cold. Minus 20 is incredibly cold. And 50 is extremely hot. 50 is incredibly hot. Do you get the idea? Do you see how I used hot and cold? على حسب الدرجة أعطيت الوصف. So if the temperature, لو كان درجة الحرارة minus 20, I can say the weather today is extremely cold. It's incredibly cold. لأن هذا مش صقع عادي هذا. Do you get the idea, Ihab?
Yeah.
Incredibly cold. It's extremely cold. And if the temperature لو درجة الحرارة 50 مثلا زي في الخليج في الصيف في الصحراء احنا عندنا, I can say the weather today is extremely hot. It's incredibly hot. Okay? حتى really يمشي حالها. It's really hot. But for example, Ihab, let's say the weather today is 15 degrees Celsius. وممكن اليوم 15 رسميا درجة حرارة. How can you describe this weather in your opinion? باستخدام كلمة cold, but you have to add an adverb. بتحط قبلها adverb. أنا واحدة حتستعمل.
extremely.
Extremely? 15 extremely cold?
لا very incredible. fire
What do you think, Sana? Which adverb would you use?
Maybe we use fairly cold. Maybe.
Yeah, fairly معقولة. اعتني متفق معك. لأنه صقع، لكن مش هذاك الصقع القاتل يعني شتان فرق بين 15 وناقص 20, right? There's a big difference. With minus 20, you can say extremely cold, right? Or really cold, incredibly cold. صقع مش طبيعي هذا. لكن 15 يعني صقع هو مش صقع.
Maybe about just location about this country يعني maybe.
خلينا في كاليبيين احنا مثلا. كاليبيين 15 هو ذاك الشتاء احنا ديما شتاء الليبي يعني بين ال10 وال15 لما ينزل ال10 مثلا. ممكن في الجبل وفي الصحراء ينزل مازال اقل من ال10 صح. لكن ندوي في المدن يعني مثلا بنغازي المدن اللي على الاقل في الشط يعني اللي على الساحل. المدن الساحليه مش يعني قليل ينزل تحت ال10 اعتقد. ف15 هو ذاك fairly cold يعني I think. But for example, let's say in Libya and the temperature is مثلا تو الصيف نغيروا عليه hot, okay? I wanted to use an adverb with hot. So here, let's say the temperature is 25. What can you say? And it's the summer. What do you think?
It's not very hot.
That's good.
Or maybe.
Not very hot. It's not very hot, right? بالنسبة لنا احنا
It's like
25
spring.
It's spring. يعني لو جتنا 25 احنا في الصيف حنقولوا it's not really hot. It's not very hot. لكن لو شخص جايك من السويد ولا من كندا بيقول لك it's hot. 25 ما يشوفش فيها هذا إلا مرة في السنة ممكن. So كلامك صح يا يعني يعتمد حتى على المكان. بس for us كليبيans يعني 25 is not very hot in the summer. It's not very hot. Let's say it's 35. How would you describe this temperature in the summer in Libya? 35.
It's hot.
It's
very
hot.
Very hot.
Very hot ماشي الحال. Very hot ماشي الحال. حتى
sometimes it will be extremely hot because the sun maybe sometimes 35. It's very extremely hot.
If you're in the sun, if you're in the sunshine, if you're not in the shade, it's going to be more. هم أصلاً درجة حرارة إن يحسبوا فيها في الظل. معناها لو هي 35 في الظل وأنت في الشمس أنت معناها مش 35 أكثر. دي قد idea. فعاد كلامك صح يعني you're right. It's going to be hotter. So 35 is usually the air temperature in the shade. This is how they calculate temperature. طريقة دراسة الحرارة اللي هي حرارة الهواء في الظل يحسبوا فيها يعني. الحرارة تحت الشمس يحسبوش فيها. تطلع أعلى بشكل كبير أكيد.
And even if there is a humidity, it will be maybe worse.
Yeah, it will be even worse. But for example, let's say it's summer, it's July or August, and the temperature is 30 in Libya. What do you say? How would you describe it? Can we say fairly hot?
No. Fairly hot. No.
Fairly is less than very, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can Fairly
maybe
is like quite.
yeah.
Do you know quite? When we say quite hot, quite
Yeah.
expensive, quite.
Yeah.
Fairly شبيهة بها نفس الطريقة.
Yeah.
أقل
In
شوية
the
من
middle,
very.
you mean in the middle, not very hot, nor very cold. It's in the middle.
No, I'm not talking about cold now. تخلينا من الcold. طلعنا منها. تبيدوا على الhot بس.
Okay.
So if I say 25 is not very hot, and if I say 30 is hot مثلا 35 is fairly hot. نقولوا مثلا الفكرة نبيكم تتعودوا على قصة الدرجات. موضوع الجريدز أن fairly أقل من very.
It's
وvery
important when speaking.
yes, it's important. It's important to know how to use it. So for example, if you want لو تبي توصف زي كان احنا بالليبي تقول مثلا الجو اليوم في شوية سقعة في شوية سقعة. هل شوية قصة شوية أنت توري في درجة معينة عرفت؟ لكن لو بتقول اليوم تسقع عليه خلاص سميطري right؟ هذه معناها extremely ولا incredibly. Do you get the idea؟ يعني مهمة درجة وصفك للadjective طريقة الوصف نتاعك.
لا نقصد من ناحية المينينج نحسين اكستريملي والكوادربلي تقريبا قريبات من بعضهم يعني.
لا زي بعضهم مش قريبات زي بعض.
زي بعضهم يعني
واحدة منهم أنت على جوك. لكن الاثنين هذه لما بتضرب فوق بتدعي على حاجة يعني فوق الطبيعي. Very very حطها هيك. Do you get the idea؟ So when you say
ذكرنا الأربعة به ذكرنا الأربعة كنا اثنين بعضا
لأنه بيوريك الدرجة بس. extremely وincredible اللي هم strong قوى يعني استعملهم كوصف شيء عالي في الدرجة. very أقل شوية وfairly أقل واحدة فيهم. Do you get the idea؟ يعني fairly حاجة بسيطة.
And this words in dictionary meaning إلى حد ما.
بالضبط هذه fairly تتكلم أنت صح؟
Yeah.
معناها مش هلبة يعني حاجة بسيطة fairly. So if you say for example this is a nice cafe ممكن ترد عليك زميلتك ولا صديقتك بتقول لك yeah but it's fairly expensive. شو معناها fairly expensive؟ يعني عندهم شوية هيك زيادة في السعر. مش شيء لا يطاق مثلا. يعني it's okay you can go there ما فيش مشكلة. لكن عندهم كان ينقصوها هذه يكون خير. Do you get the idea؟ So fairly expensive يعني حاجة بسيطة عندهم شوية. But if you say very expensive or if you say extremely expensive ولا في اللي مازال أسوأ منهم اللي هي too expensive. Too is another adverb. Too عندها ممكن معنى منفرد على أي من الadverbs الثانيات. Who can tell me what's the difference between extremely expensive and too expensive? Let's say, for example, that you want to go to a cafe or a restaurant, right? And then your friend says, this restaurant is extremely expensive. Are you going to eat there or not? What do you think?
Maybe you can go there.
Maybe you can. Okay. But for example, if your friend says, this restaurant is too expensive. You can't
go there.
That's it. That's the idea. So too is always an adverb, which means you can't anymore. This is more than you can. Do you get the idea? So too حتى هي عندها قصة براحة. So too is usually too much, more than you can accept.
I like to.
You like it? That's the problem because too has an unexpected meaning. هي معناها الحاجة يعني اللي انت فاتت حدها.
But I understand it maybe.
If you understand it, if you say this is too expensive or the weather is too hot today. So for example, let's say the weather is too hot. Does this mean will you go out or will you stay at home when the weather is too hot?
Stay at home.
Stay at home. المفروض هيك. يعني لما بتقولي the weather is too hot معناها من كتر سخونيتها يعني it's dangerous. ممكن تحصلي ضربة شمس. Yeah, بشكل it's too much. It's it's too dangerous. You shouldn't go out. You should stay at home. until it cools down, then you can go out. This is the meaning of to. أي شيء to معناها مبالغة. So هذه موضوع ال adverbs. You have to know what they mean exactly and how to use them. Okay, so fairly اتفقنا أن هي أقل من very، أضعف شوية. يعني لما بتخفف على وصف الحاجة you can use fairly. Fairly expensive, it's fairly hot, fairly cold, she's fairly beautiful. She's not very beautiful, she's fairly beautiful, she's okay. Then we have absolutely. So absolutely, you can only use it with strong adjectives. Okay? So in Arabic, what does it mean when we say absolutely?
Sure. Or
تأكيد.
You can use it as an answer.
definitively.
Yeah. For example, if someone says, "Are you sure?" Absolutely.
بشكل قاطع يعني حاد.
Yes. مطلقاً بالإطلاق يعني. But you can also use absolutely with adjectives. يعني تقدر تستعملها حتى كحال كadverb. So you can say, for example, this restaurant, their food is absolutely delicious. It's absolutely delicious. What do you think this means? If we want to translate it بالليبي شنو قصد absolutely delicious? What do you think?
Repeat question, please.
For example, you go to a restaurant, okay? Let's say your friend invites you for dinner, okay?
Yeah.
And you finish dinner and your friend asks you, how was the meal? What do you think? And you say, it was absolutely delicious. What do you think?
It's right. It's right.
I think it's very good. Maybe
excellent.
maybe more than very good.
That's it. It's more than very good.
Mhm.
It means it's really, really good. It means I loved the food. Do you get the idea? So delicious, but when you use the word absolutely, this means like very, very, very. Do you get the idea? A lot. So so you can use it in so many ways. So here, look at this example. We went, so let's say my 5-year-old son saw a scary movie last night. He was absolutely terrified. What do you think this means? My son saw a scary movie and he was absolutely terrified.
He's afraid a lot.
It's not true. Okay. Yeah.
You mean it's not correct? Absolutely terrified?
No.
It's actually correct. Absolutely terrified, it's correct.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and what does it mean, Malak?
It means he's afraid a lot. Very, very afraid.
That's it. He was very, very afraid. يعني بالليبي كيف نقولها مثل very, very afraid.
مرعوب يعني.
مرعوب، مش حتى خوف عادي، رعب شديد. لأن كلمة absolutely تعطي انطباع بشيء قوي. A lot. Absolutely terrified. معناها يعني مرعوب لأبعد حد. Do you get the idea? So absolutely is a very strong adverb. من الادverbs اللي لو استعملتهم مع strong adjective يعطي معنى قوي جدا. Okay? Do you get the idea?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the point I wanted to make بخصوص absolutely. Really زيها the difference between really and absolutely. For really, you can use it even with gradable adjectives. Do you get the point? يعني حتى مع gradable adjectives you can use it. So you can say really good, really bad. You can say really interesting. You can say you can use it even with the strong adjectives. يعني عادي. Here, let's take an example with really. It's a really huge building. It's a really delicious meal, for example. It's a really enormous car. So really يمشي حالها مع الاثنين. You can use it in both ways. And then we have a tip here. It says these strong adjectives also mean very good. Okay, because in the list, if you remember in the exercise, we talked about brilliant and fantastic, right? هاد بس اللي كانوا اللي كتبناهم في السؤال. Amazing, excellent, fabulous, incredible, marvelous, superb, terrific, wonderful. All of these are examples which have the same meaning as very good. بالإضافة طبعا اللي كانوا في الدرس brilliant and fantastic. Do you see how many ways we can use very good? Do you get the idea here? Which do you think is better? لو استعملنا very good ولا استعملنا اللي تحت? Which one do you think is better? في وصف شيء ما. مثلا let's say you went to Italy and your friend is asking you, how was your trip? You can say very good, or you can say my trip was incredible. It was excellent. It was amazing. It was wonderful. Which one is better? أم أحسن؟ اللي تستعملوا فيها very good?
One.
Yes.
When we use
على حسب اللي رحلة.
لا هو
second one.
هو already
والأحسن أكثر incredible.
لكن هي كلمة أصلا very good زي incredible. أو very good زي مثلا excellent زي amazing كقوة يعني ندو it's the same. لكن
you can if you doesn't like it so much you can say good.
It's good. Yeah, if it's normal or not very interesting maybe you can just say good. You don't have to say very. لكن كان فات فيك قلت very يعني بدل منها very because the problem is very is not a very strong I mean in language ما هياش زي كنا في العربي جدا حلو جدا كبير جدا صغير جدا. عرفتي فكرة very is like جدا يعني تكرارها يعطي نوع من الركاكة في اللغة. Do you get the idea? فالفكرة يعني موضوع الدرس هذا محاولين قدر الإمكان يعرفوا الطلبة بأكثر من طريقة أن تقدر تقولوا very good يعني تقدر تقولوا amazing incredible وأغلبهم تعرفوهم يعني مش جدد لكن يبوكم تركزوا أن these adjectives are better أفضل من استعمال very good. هذه النقطة. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's use all of this information and let's do the exercise in page 20. We have a nice exercise. We want to use all of this information and we want to use it to do this exercise. Can you see exercise 8, everyone? Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. So what we want to do is we want to use these adjectives from part C. Can you see the adjectives? The box? These sorry, not adjectives, adverbs. Yeah, we want to use these adverbs. We want to use them to complete the gaps, to complete these sentences. So let's start with Sumaya. Can you hear us? Are you there?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Okay, Sumaya, which adverb would you like to use for number 1?
I am not ready.
Okay, sorry, before you answer, let me give you a few tips, okay? Before you answer, everyone, you have to check the adjective first, okay? يعني أول حاجة بنصنفه if gradable or if strong.
Strong, yes.
After you decide what kind of adjective you have, you can use the right adverb. Okay. So first of all, exhausted, Sumaya. What kind of adjective is it? Is it a gradable adjective or is it a strong adjective? What do you think?
I think strong.
Correct. It's a strong adjective. You're right. Okay, هذه الخطوة الأولى من الحل. So عرفنا it's a strong adjective, but which adverbs from the box, which of these adverbs can we use with strong adjectives? Which ones? Can we use incredibly?
Incredibly, yeah.
Can we use it
No.
with a
No.
we can't.
Difficult, about difficult, yeah.
And about exhausted.
Exhausted, very.
Maybe absolutely.
Absolutely, yes, we can use absolutely.
And really?
Absolutely.
And really, yes.
Really?
Really, you can.
Yes.
Can we use very?
No.
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 Can we use fairly?
No.
No.
No. Can we use extremely?
No.
No.
No. Do you get the idea, Sumaya?
Yes.
So, okay, can you read it again, please, using one of the two options?
Really and absolutely.
Okay, but can you read the sentence completely, number one, all of it with the correct answer?
I am usually really excited.
Okay, I'm usually really exhausted after, and can you give us a situation where you're really exhausted in your life, I mean? When are you really exhausted, Sumaya?
I don't know.
Okay. Who can give me an example about after
work?
After walking.
Working, yes.
Okay.
Or housework.
Working. I thought you said walking.
No, working.
Working. Or after work, right? You can just say
Yes,
after work.
I said work.
I thought you said walk. Correct, yeah. I'm really exhausted after work. This is a good example, right? What about number two? Yeah, you can do number two.
It's incredibly difficult for me too.
Good. Okay, it's incredibly difficult for me to what? What is incredibly difficult for you?
To travel another country to another country to another country.
Okay, so it's incredibly difficult for me to travel to another country.
Yes.
That's a good example. That's a good sentence. So it's incredibly difficult for me to travel to another country. Okay, let me write this example. It's a good one. Let's write it here. It's incredibly difficult. Okay, Malak, your turn.
Okay. I was really delighted when what's something delighted?
Very happy.
Okay. When I travel.
But this is in the past. I was.
Okay, when I traveled.
All right, very good. But remember that really
It's
Uh,
with the gradable load and
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah. No, it's correct. You can use really, but the problem with really, it's a little bit like very.
yes.
What's the problem with very? شو مشكلة very و really? What's the problem with them?
We use it too much.
Very you use with the gradable. Yes, we can use. Okay.
What did you
very
say, Hajar?
We use it
can-
too much.
Too
So
much. This is
more easy.
this is the problem. مشكلتهم الوحيدة هم ما فيهم مش خطأ استعمالهم يعني نحويا صح الاثنين، لكن أغلب المدرسين شو حينصحوكم خصوصا في مستوى هذا الانترميديت، يعني أنتم مش beginner ولا elementary. They will tell you حاولوا أبدوا أفطموا أنفسكم منهم، يعني حاولوا قدر الإمكان تنقصوا منهم. دي قد idea.
Yes.
بحيث تعطوا للغتكم نوع من التنوع أكثر يعني. So they're لو مثلا نسيتوا الكلمة أو نسيتوا adverb, it's okay, you can use them. But if you can think of another adverb, it's better. So really delighted is fine, but there's I think a better one.
Maybe absolutely.
I think this is very nice. Absolutely delighted.
Absolutely delighted. Yes.
Yeah, and absolutely delighted هي لو مترجمها بالعربي اللي هي كأنها فرحة عارمة، ممكن هذه الكلمة الفصحى. فرحة لا توصف، فرحة كبيرة. Do you get the idea? I was absolutely delighted. فرحة لا توصف. Okay. So you have to, if you say I was absolutely delighted, you have to think of something that made you very happy. Malak.
Yes, traveling. Yes.
Okay. But can you give us a highlight, an example of a part from your trip or from your traveling which was very memorable?
When I travel outside Libya.
اوكي ممكن ما وضحت لك شو القصد هنا. موقف مميز على اي مواقف ثانيه، مش سفر بصفه عامه. ممكن سفر لمكان معين، او ممكن معلم سياحي معين، او بلد معين، او مدينه معينه.
Okay, when I traveled to Turkey.
Okay, this is good. When I was absolutely delighted when I traveled to Turkey. Okay, this is a very nice example. I was absolutely delighted when I traveled to Turkey. And the first one, I'm usually really exhausted after work. And in number two, we said what did we use in number two? It's extremely, did we say extremely?
Incredibly.
Incredibly difficult, yeah. Incredibly. It's incredibly difficult for me to travel to another country. Okay, it's your turn, Hajar. What about number four? What would you use to?
Yeah. I have got an extremely beautiful dress.
Very nice. I've got an extremely beautiful dress. Good example. Okay. Sana, what about number five?
Okay, number five, delicious. And delicious will come with, I think, strong.
Yes.
And yes, and maybe I think the food in this restaurant is absolutely delicious.
Nice. So the food, I think, the food in this restaurant, let's put it here. This is a very nice example. I think the food in this restaurant is absolutely delicious. Nice. Okay, number six. I think we're back to Sumaya. Can you do number six? How? Yeah.
I am very
Okay.
interested in my job.
Okay. Fairly is a good choice. 100 ممتازة. بس job, I don't know if you can use interested in. Maybe you can say I'm fairly interested in. Talk about something you like. What do you like?
Sport.
Okay. What kind of sport do you like?
Tennis.
Okay, good. So this is better. If you say I'm fairly interested in tennis, it means you're interested, not very. You're a little bit interested in tennis. Okay.
Okay.
This is a nice example. It's a good example. Okay, Ihab, what about number 7?
I was absolutely angry when you cut my idea.
Okay, angry. Is it a strong adjective or is it a gradable adjective? What do you think? You have to decide if it's a gradable or if it's a strong adjective. What do you think?
I don't know.
You're not sure. Okay, let's find some help. What do you think, Sana? Angry. Do you think it's is it a gradable adjective or is it a strong adjective? When we say angry, you can tell me.
Okay, it's a gradable.
It's a gradable.
Correct.
adjective.
But what's the strong adjective of angry?
Exhausted.
No.
No.
Exhausted is for tired.
Yeah.
More
Or
stressed?
tired.
No.
Yeah.
It starts with F.
Furious.
Yes.
Furious. Yeah.
Yes. Furious. Right? Do you know the movie, The Fast and the Furious? Have you heard of it? The movie about cars, The Fast and the Furious. So furious, this means very, very angry or really angry. So this means, this means that angry and surprised, both of them are gradable adjectives, okay? So for gradable adjectives, we can't use absolutely. You have to choose another adverb.
Really angry?
Really ماشي الحال. أعطينا واحدة تانية. Really صح. جرب واحدة أحسن.
Very angry or
very تمشي. الزوز صح. Yes.
Fairly.
There's a better one. fairly تمشي لكن غريبة شوية لأن ما نستعملوش مع surprised ماشي الحال. I was fairly surprised. Okay. مع angry غريبة شوية. I was fairly angry.
incredibly
ممتازة يمشي الحال. incredibly ماشي الحال. very nice. What
also
else?
extremely
تمشي حالها. yeah. بالنسبة للسربرايز حتى نحويا grammatically fairly تركب و very تركب و rarely تركب لكن كأفضلية من ناحية لغوية أو من ناحية استعمال بالذات مع angry ولا incredibly و extremely الزوز هذو يمشوا مناح مع angry. لو مع surprised fairly يمشي حالها. I was fairly surprised. I was fairly surprised when they told me I got the new job. ممكن أنت درت مقابلة عمل ما كنتش متوقع إنه حيكلموك. نحاها من بالك وقالوا لك لا نبوك تعال اختم معنا. So you can say I was fairly surprised. So this is a good kind of surprise. Do you get the idea? Okay, now Ihab, give us an example with angry. أنت كنت حطعطي مثال when someone you said cut my idea, I think.
I was extremely angry when someone cut my idea, or you
Okay.
cut my idea.
All right, so you can say I was extremely angry or incredibly angry. I was extremely angry when he interrupted. هم يستعملوا في كلمة أحسن من cut يقولوا interrupted.
Yes.
Interrupted my idea. When he interrupted my idea. Or ممكن حتى مش my idea, my speech. ممكن أنت كنت تعطي في محاضرة أو حاجة. Interrupted my speech. لكن بصفة عامة يكتبوا فيها speech حتى ككلام. شخص يقطع عليك في الكلام. So this is a good example. I was extremely angry. I was incredibly angry when he interrupted my speech. Okay, number 8. Who'd like to do number 8?
Maybe me.
Okay, Malak, go ahead.
I thought this film was absolutely brilliant.
Good. I thought this film was absolutely brilliant. So let's write this film. And what about awful? If you want to talk about something awful.
Maybe the same. Absolutely. No. Awful is agreeable.
Awful, is it gradable? I think it's strong.
No, it's strong. It's the same. You can
it's
use
the same.
absolutely.
It's absolutely awful. It's absolutely brilliant. Correct. You can use both. It's really brilliant, really awful. يمشي حالها لكن absolutely مثال أحسن. All right, very nice. So this is just an example how to mix adverbs with adjectives and use them in a nice way. This is the whole idea of the article. My advice is I think you need to do as many exercises as you can. This means you have to do the workbook exercises from this lesson اللي هو بيكون which one 2C. I think it's very very important. واللي يبي مازال يتمم ويقوي روحه فيهم أكثر. I think Uncle Google is very very useful, very helpful. So what I do when I see a new word لما تقابلني كلمة جديدة أول حاجة نمشي لجوجل نكتب مثلا let's say delighted. فرضا أنا delighted جديدة حنكتب picking word. This is what I do. In any word I see, I just type this in Google, right? So let me show you how it looks like. نعطيكم مثال. So here it is. Because this is a very important, I think, step in your English learning, especially at this level. So, for example, I use delighted in a. Do you see this? هي تطلع بروحها delighted in a sentence. And then I click it. And do you see the first paragraph? Can you see this?
Yes.
She laughed in a delighted way. The little girls were delighted to see the lovely shells. And I كانوا very happy. He looked up at the opening door and his expression of sleepy indifference suddenly changed to one of delighted amazement. ممكن المقطع هذا واخذينه من قصة أو حاجة زي كذا. For example, you can even look here. How to use delighted in a sentence. I'm very delighted to hear the news of my success. I was delighted to receive the news of your promotion. He is much delighted to know it. What does delighted mean? Delightful, highly pleased, delighted to see her friend. Merriam-Webster. Do you get my point? So يعني من غير حتى كترة بحث يكفي أول يعني أول paragraph يطلع عادة حيعطيكم فكرة حلوة. مثلا let's think of another word. Let's say absolutely. Absolutely in a sentence. Let's see how we can use absolutely. He is absolutely certain of who will win. Let me make one thing absolutely clear. Keep absolutely quiet during the movie. Absolutely not, Gabriel said with a snort. Cookies are absolutely forbidden. Remember, be absolutely quiet. Everything is absolutely perfect. All this is absolutely true. I absolutely must see him. It was absolutely adorable. Do you get my point? So I think it's important with new words. بدأت الحاجات الجديدة على الأقل مرة واحدة في الجوجل حيعطيكم شوية أفكار حلوة يعني. All right, so let's continue. So we finished number 8. So number 9, it says, write a sleep survey. Write at least 5 questions. I think we can skip this because this is asking about sleep. It's asking about this, these questions, similar to these, like the ones about Kevin and the ones here. But let's do it quickly. Let's see your opinions. So in Libya here, how common do you think insomnia is in Libya? Is it common? Do you know people who
Yes.
have insomnia?
Yes.
Yeah, the teenage nowadays the teenager has
And
become
all
more.
people.
All
Yes.
people?
All people.
I
Yes.
agree with Malak, old people, yes.
Old people have insomnia?
Yes.
Yes.
Also the teenager nowadays.
Yes.
You mean they can't
Maybe
sleep?
teenagers want
Maybe to stay up.
wake. Yes.
Yeah.
Wake up. Yeah.
Yeah, because insomnia, it means you want to sleep, but you can't.
Mm.
You get the
Yes.
idea. But
Yeah, I
maybe
know.
you think
I think
also teenagers, many of them want to sleep, but they can't.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
because it started they want to sleep and then they can't. They become cannot sleep very well.
But
Maybe he thinks about something.
why do you think this is happening?
Maybe he thinks about something. I think.
They're
Maybe his
thinking.
game. Maybe. Yes. Maybe game. Maybe
Yeah.
something.
You mean they're
Yes.
thinking of video games or something?
Yes. I have one teenager.
You have a son who's always thinking
Yeah.
about video games?
Yes.
But is he, do you
He
think
can't sleep. Yes.
he can't sleep because of the video
Yes,
games?
but he wants that. I think he wants to play.
He wants to stay up at night.
Not just teenager, also old people, because
Yes, I say to old people.
events. Yes, event about Libya. Yeah. Some people don't sleep like that, and maybe worry about the future or worry about this war, or like that.
I think that's true too. Yeah. So we have teenagers, we have old people, because of the situation in the country. What do you think a good solution is for people who can't sleep, people who want to sleep but can't?
Go to the doctor, psychologist.
Psychologist?
Yes.
Or maybe less than computer games about teenagers. Take things that work their brains.
Also for the old people, maybe they should watch less news.
I completely agree with this.
I read about research about talk about Libya, people about Libya. I remember say this research. Most people in Libya go to the psychiatric because most of people have some depression or worry or like disease because the wars
Yeah.
or I don't
I
know
agree with
where I read that.
Yeah, I think we all need therapy. I think every Libyan needs
Yes.
therapy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah. So, but what about, for example, maybe daily habits or personal habits that might help us sleep? I mean, I agree. The psychologist is maybe the best thing to do if you have serious insomnia. You have to go to a doctor or psychologist. I completely agree with you. But let's talk about things we can do in our own homes. Just like Malak said, take away video games. Maybe if your child can't sleep because they're always playing, so maybe take it away for a few days. This might help. But what about other people like us, for example?
Drink
Reading
less
books.
coffee and tea.
Drink less coffee and tea, especially in the evening, right?
Reading books. Reading books.
Yeah.
Read
than
books. Read
watching
books.
TV.
Read
Yeah.
books instead of TV, maybe.
Maybe wake up
Maybe.
early to
Wake
sleep
up early.
at night.
Maybe leave, have a nap.
You mean don't have a nap?
Yes.
Okay,
And,
cancel the nap.
And maybe drink hot milk.
Drink hot milk.
Yes.
Okay. Does it work for you, Sana? Hot milk, does it help?
For me, no, I don't drink. I drink milk, but not before I sleep. I don't try it before.
You haven't tried it before. Okay, I have an idea. You try it first, and then we'll see. Okay, try it and tell us.
Okay, because no, I not drink. I eat yogurt.
Yogurt.
Not because I told you before I do diet. That's why.
You're doing a diet.
I know some people more maybe 10 or more or 15 or like that. I know any old and teenager, not just about any video or coffee, just say me, I can't sleep. Why? I don't know, but maybe I think a lot, or maybe have a problem with wife or a family or like that. Maybe also about go to the bank, no money also.
You mean stress from life, right?
Yes, more problem. Not just video or like or cafe or like that.
You mean psychological problems, real problems?
Yes. More I know 15 or more 10 people. I know specialists from some 1 to 1. Yeah.
So you think it's a serious problem, not?
Yes, serious problem. Because I spread in Libya now. I don't know, but spread in Libya. Any prevalence in Libya about that.
You mean this is a common thing in Libya?
Yes.
A common problem.
Yes. So you know this about some people kill himself, yani.
Yeah, suicide.
Yes.
Suicide. Committed suicide.
Yes, just ice break. Don't see another, but see just people take depression. But some people kill himself. A problem with wife, with family, or like that. Also, mainly problem with wife. I don't know, because in Libya in 2019 about divorce maybe 1,000
divorce, 1,000 divorce.
Yes, divorce 50,000.
50,000 divorces.
15,000. Yes.
Wow.
In Libya, all Libya. Yes.
That's a lot.
So
yeah, that's what I said. I said this in our last lesson when we were talking about Kevin. You see, I was right. I told you, Kevin is having problems. It's a nightmare. He's talking about his wife.
Look,
You're right, yeah. I agree. I agree, Hab. I agree with you.
Sorry, doctor. 15,000.
Yes,
15
you can
or
see that. Yes.
50,000.
15.
15.
15.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think this is too much, doctor. Yes.
It's around the country, but it's around the country, not only in one city. It's in all of Libya.
15. sorry. يعني 50,000. Yes.
15.
لا 15
15,000.
Yeah.
50,000.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
50 only Libya.
Yeah, it's I think it's a reasonable number. I think it's probably real. It's probably real. Excuse me. Yeah. So, yeah, stress. Married life is not easy, of course. There's lots of stress, but life in general in Libya is hard. And if someone is going to get married, I think it's hard for both, for the husband and the wife. Maybe for the husband a little more, because he has to work. He needs a house. He needs a car. He needs, So maybe there's more responsibility.
I want to say just small problem, not big problem. This divorce, not big problem. You can't husband divorce wife. No, just small problem about don't eat in the morning, or maybe stress about this about stress or situation in Libya made someone so angry or extremely angry. So like that, so you can he can't patient with himself, so he can't, maybe I don't know, but just more problem and more and don't answer. I don't get answer about this problem.
I think you need to do more research. You should work as a psychologist to bring us statistics but I completely agree with you that there is a social problem, and it has many reasons: stress, war, banks, marriage, security, political problems. All of it is true, and all of it is making our personal life, making it harder and making us more stressed. So I completely agree. And of course, one of the symptoms of depression is insomnia. One of them. Many people can't sleep anymore. They just can't. Too much stress. So I think you have a point.
Maybe, doctor, the main problem, the people far away from Allah. That's why, I think. Because everything in your life and in our life from Allah. And the problem, not because it's the main, like this problem, like money or something like that.
Yes. It said Allah نسوا الله فنسيهم. Yes.
Yeah, true. I think maybe people are they're not very religious. Maybe they don't care about right and wrong. So all of these things are happening. Maybe this is true. Okay, so let's take a look at our next topic here. So here we want to talk a little bit about showing concern. Now, what do you think this means when we say showing concern? What does the word concern mean anyways? Who can guess? Or if anybody knows what it means. Worry, correct. Worry, yes. Okay, yes. Showing concern. Concern is like worry, I agree. I think this is the closest meaning. And then it says giving and responding to advice.
To take advice.
Advice. To give and to take. Maybe not take, but to respond. It means you can say what you think about this advice. But here, usually when we say showing concern, it also means that maybe, let's say, one of the people like Ihab was talking about, let's say a patient or someone says, "Doctor, I can't sleep anymore." Or, for example, is complaining about some kind of problem in his life. So if you want to show concern, you have to say something like, for example, "What's the matter? What's wrong?" These kind of questions. This is showing concern. So concern in this way, it's a bit like care, showing that you want to help to the other person who's looking for help or who's asking for help. So you have to show, concern. You have to show care, that you care about the other person. In this lesson, we will learn how you can do this. So if someone is complaining or if someone is talking about a problem, it's very nice if you can show concern, to show that you care about the person, that maybe you want to help, you want to listen to them. So this way they can talk a little more about their problem. So let's start first here. It says, what types of problem, I think problems, this should be, what types of problems?
Like history, this like history.
Okay, yeah, okay, you can take the first question. It says, what types of problems do people often ask advice about? I think you mentioned some of them, but can you tell us a little more? In your opinion, or in your work at least, what do you think are the most common problems that people ask your advice at least for? What do you think?
Most some people ask me about advice about wife.
Okay.
Social, yeah.
Social problems or
yes,
social
problem. Yes. So I don't have experience, but maybe I read a lot about that. Yani. See, second, maybe about money also.
Okay.
Yes. And about the situation in Libya. This I think the most. Yani.
The most common problems in your opinion.
Common problem. Ask me. Yes.
Interesting. That's interesting. And what about the opposite situation? Who was the last person you asked for advice? Maybe you needed advice about anything in your life. Who was the last person you asked for advice?
If you mean I give advice, how to give
the opposite.
Advice?
You asked for advice. You wanted help. You needed something. You needed to know something, and you asked maybe someone for advice. And by the way, when we say advice, it could be anything, by the way. It could be, how can I maybe become healthier? How can I start? Any kind of advice. It doesn't have to be about...
Just I give two advice about this problem, about this situation in Libya. Just someone devolved myself. Second, the most, this is time will go in. This time will go. Just temporary time. This is to advise. This is just to advise, maybe about the situation in Libya.
Okay.
Just someone development and time will go. Time mean, this war. Time this situation. Time this situation will go.
You mean with time the problem will go away?
Go. Yes.
All right. But you haven't asked anybody for advice about for you. Not give advice. You ask for advice.
Give advice maybe when but in the past, not now. Because now just ask about any problem about not problem, just about the study, But when I think or thought about travel to another country, so I asked some friend about this, this travel, just how rent about the home and how to learn this language and like that.
Very nice. And this person you asked, was he or she, were they in Libya or were they abroad?
Abroad, not in Libya. Yes.
Right. Nice. Yeah. And I think you answered the rest of the question. You asked them about rent and life abroad. Do you think their advice helped you? Did it help you, their advice, when you asked them?
Yes, surely, because he made me all think easy.
So he made everything easy for you.
Yes. So just I playing with the country because I go 4 years. I live 4 years, not 1 year. So I can't about money. I can't control my money. And how can I live 4 years without any supply from anyone. Yeah, like that. Take more advice.
Good questions. I think that's a very good question.
Yeah.
And what about the opposite? When was the last time you gave someone advice? Because you talked about some examples. You talked about people asking you about social problems, money, and all of that. But when was the last time? Was it, for example, last night, last week, last month?
Last day.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Yes.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
What was it about? What was the advice someone asked you for?
Just I try about this money. Like money, I try help with another one. Yeah, not me. Just I ask another one to give money to this man, poor man. Maybe solve to this problem now. I mean help about with another one to give this money, just money. But another social I give another advice. But this in money, especially money, I try to take money with another rich man and give this poor man. Just like that, yeah.
So you told the poor man, I will I will help you, and you can meet this other person who can give you money.
Yes. I try. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see someone else here. What about you, Sana? Let's take a look.
Okay.
Do people ask you for advice, or in general, not about you, in general? Do you what types of problem do you think people usually ask for advice about? What do you think?
I think the same what Ihab said about traveling, about maybe buy something, and about maybe change the job.
Professional life.
Maybe maybe yes. For me, I asked my colleague about everything. Maybe even when I buy shoes or something like that, I asked my friends or my colleague to give me advice where can go and from where I can buy these things. Everything.
This is good advice. This is good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even it's work.
It worked.
Yes.
Did it help you? Their advice?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And what about the opposite situation, Sana? When was the last time someone asked you for advice?
I don't remember really.
You don't remember anybody asking you for advice?
Yes.
Okay. And what about you, Hajar? What do you think are maybe the kinds of problems that people usually ask for advice for? What do you think? I think Hajar. Okay, Hajar disconnected. Najat, are you still asleep? Did you wake up? Najat is asleep today. Okay, Malak, what do you think? Types of problems that people ask for advice about. What do you think are the most common problems, in your opinion?
Maybe about money, or maybe about children, their children.
Raising children, taking care of children.
Yes. And learning in schools.
Learning, okay. Yeah, yes. Education in general.
Yes.
Especially if you have children.
Problems, yes.
And?
Social problems.
Social problems, you mean like with wives, husbands, daughters, fathers, uncles, all of this, you mean? Okay. And who was the last person you asked for advice?
My brother.
Okay. And what did you ask them about?
I asked them about my son.
Okay. And did your brother's advice, did it help?
Yeah. He told me I have to take him and don't speak with him a lot, and don't stress for him for anything.
You mean his advice was to give your son some space?
Yeah.
But have you tried it yet, or are you still trying?
No. I let him to do what he wants, and don't talk with him. Yes.
Okay. All right. And what about the opposite situation? When was the last time someone asked you for advice?
And maybe my cousin, قريبتي يعني.
Relative.
About school. She wants us to put her children in good school here.
And she's asking what are the best schools?
Yes.
But did she take your advice in the end? Did she put her children in the school you recommended?
Yes, and she likes it. She likes it.
Okay, I see what you mean. All right, so you can see that the topic of the lesson already. It's about giving advice, asking for advice, accepting advice, maybe not accepting advice. It's a bit like this. But now let's go to the listening part. First of all, let's take a look. Can you see Rebecca, Lisa, Rebecca, and Charlie? So this is Lisa. Can everyone see Lisa here in the photo?
Just listen.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is Lisa,
Yes.
right? And this is Rebecca. So you can see Rebecca. Let's find Charlie. Where's Charlie? Here's Charlie. Can you see Charlie? And you can see Andy. Let's start with the first two, Lisa and Rebecca. What do you think is happening here? What do you think they're talking about?
I think Rebecca had problem.
Rebecca has a problem, you think?
Yes. And ill. I think ill because
she's ill.
Yes. And this is her friend.
Okay.
So he talk about a problem.
So she's talking about her problems,
and
you think?
waiting, yes, and waiting her advice. Yeah.
Do you agree with Ihab, or do you think maybe the opposite? Do you think maybe Lisa is having a problem?
No, I think Rebecca, because she married.
She's married?
Yes.
How do we know she's married?
Because from the last listening.
Yeah, I forgot the last lesson.
Yes, she married Charlie, and they have a baby.
Son. They have a baby. Harry. Their baby is Harry.
Yeah.
Quickly problem. Yeah. This is a quickly problem.
So we finished the lesson. We know the problem. There's no need to listen. Everything is clear now. See, each time we come back to the same topic. It's always the same. So maybe you're right. Maybe you have a point because here you can see that Charlie is also in the story. So maybe they're having some kind of problem, right? So I think you're right. I agree with you. Okay. So it says here, listen to two conversations. So we're going to listen and we're going to find out if your guess is correct or close. So let's do that. So track 1, CD1, track 15. Let's go. So let's take a look. CD1, CD1, CD1. Here it is. Track 15, track 15. CD1, track 15. All right. Let's listen.
Track 15. Conversation 1.
Here you are, Lisa.
1 sugar. Thanks, Rebecca. Where's Harry?
Oh, he's having his afternoon nap.
Right. You look a bit stressed. Is everything okay?
Well, Charlie and I are having a difficult time at the moment.
Oh, dear. What's the matter?
Harry isn't sleeping very well. He wakes up 4 or 5 times every night, which means Charlie and I wake up too, of course. The trouble is, Charlie finds it difficult to get back to sleep, so he's always absolutely shattered the next day.
I can see why you're upset. That must be really difficult.
Yes, it is. And when Charlie gets home from work, he's really exhausted and fed up. So we're arguing a lot more than we usually do.
Oh, dear, what a shame.
What should I do, Lisa?
Well, have you tried talking to him about it?
Yes, but we just end up having another argument. Then he tells me I'm spending too much money and starts getting really angry at me.
Oh, how awful.
But I only buy things we need for the house and for the baby, of course.
Perhaps you ought to spend more time together. You know, just the 2 of you. I think you need at least 1 evening off a week.
Yes, you could be right. I'll talk to Charlie when he gets home.
I'd be happy to babysit for you if you like.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Lisa. Thanks a lot. Uh-oh. Sounds like someone's woken up. Back in a minute.
Conversation 2.
Charlie, have you got the file for the Bradley account?
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Thanks. You okay? You look exhausted.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just having trouble sleeping these days, that's all.
I'm sorry to hear that. What's the problem?
Well, Harry isn't sleeping very well. He wakes us up in the middle of the night, then we can't get back to sleep.
Maybe you should sleep in separate rooms. You know, just till Harry's sleeping better. Then you won't wake up so often.
Well, it's worth a try, I guess. But it's not just that. Rebecca's spending too much money. Not on herself, but she buys lots of things for the house and the baby that we just don't need.
Well, why don't you talk to her about it?
I've tried that. But we just start arguing again. And then she tells me I'm working too hard, which is probably true. But I've heard that some people are going to lose their jobs soon, and I don't want to be one of them.
Yes, I see what you mean. But I really don't think you're going to lose your job. The company needs you.
Thanks, Andy. That's good to hear. So what do you think I should do?
Well, I'd take her out for a really nice meal, you know? Just the 2 of you. That's what Fiona and I do when we're having problems, and it's always really helpful.
Yes, that's a good idea. I might try that. Thanks, Andy.
No problem. Good luck.
Cheers. Actually, I'll call her now.
Hi.
Hi, honey, it's me. Look, do you think we could get a babysitter this evening?
Okay. So was your guess correct? Was it correct?
Yes, she's
kind of correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think your guesses were good guesses. She's having some problems with. You tell me what is Rebecca's problem exactly?
Insomnia.
Insomnia, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the problems. One of the problems is insomnia. One of them. What else?
And argument with her husband.
Yeah, some arguments with her husband. But why?
Maybe she needs money and to spend in her babies and home.
Okay, and what does
spend a lot of money?
She's spending a lot of money.
Yes.
But does she think she's spending a lot of money, or does Charlie think she's spending a lot of money? What does she think?
Charlie.
Yeah, her husband thinks she's spending a lot of money. But does she think she's spending a lot of money?
No, because she said the need is for baby and home.
Yeah, so she thinks she's not spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? What other problems did they talk about?
About Harry sleeping.
Yeah. What about Harry? What's Harry's problem? The baby's problem. What is it?
At midnight.
Yeah. Woke up.
Then sleep again.
Exactly. He wakes up, and when he wakes up, they can't go back to sleep, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is another problem. Can you remember the advice that Lisa gave to Rebecca? What did she tell him? Can you remember? Sana,
sorry, I didn't hear this all dialogue, but because I'm driving the car and listen to you.
Okay, yeah. But did you hear Lisa's solution?
Maybe he think we will.
With her. If he wants to sleep, she will take him.
Okay. What about Charlie and Andy? Can you remember Andy's advice? What did Andy tell Charlie to do? Yeah, go ahead, Malak.
Maybe he wants him to talk with his wife.
Okay.
Maybe invite her in the dinner or something like that. Yeah.
Maybe he told her
meals or
take her for a meal, take her for dinner or something.
Yeah.
Maybe he has to find a job.
Does Charlie have to find a job?
No, his wife.
Do you think she has to find a job?
Maybe someone talked about find a job.
Okay. All right. So this means we'll listen to this one more time next time when we start. So we'll listen to this, and we'll also answer some of the questions about both conversations, true and false. So we'll do this, inshallah, in our next lesson. And we will talk about how to show concern, how to give advice, how to respond to advice. So we will also learn how to do this, and we'll practice it. And after that, we will also use it in this exercise. We will use all of that information in exercise 7 to answer it correctly. So this is our topic for our next lesson, okay? So I'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good evening.
Thanks
and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Night.